Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Money Church. Y'all know on Sundays we talk about markets and money and how to get that money, that paper. Rather, it's just me and Corey today. But the question of the day is, does size matter? When it comes to stocks, that is. And so when it comes to stocks, size absolutely matters. So good morning, Corey. How you doing today, man?
I'm good, man. How you feeling today?
Listen, man, I'm charged up but tired as hell. Yesterday was great, man. We 2 weeks into the camp. If y'all don't know about the camp, if y'all been under a rock, but we've been rocking. Core's been doing his goddamn thing. But Jimmy's not here, so I'm not going to slander Jimmy today, though, because he's with the family. So he gets a pass. But no, seriously, y'all been rocking, man. And the babies have been activated, rejuvenated, invigorated.
Yeah, man. we had a ball yesterday, and then we had fun, and we had the honey hustler come about farming, about farming. That was amazing because shit about farming. I'm just gonna keep it that while. And she taught me everything. Like I had no idea about. Like I was like, damn, like you know what I mean? Like, and she was, she gave us all the game in like a half an hour. Like she was like, it could be. Yeah, she gave us the whole game in like a half hour. So, and the kids, the thing that excited me is that the questions that the kids were having. Because they were using the terminology, they were asking her like, what percentage of your money goes back into the business, that kind of stuff. And that invigorated me because that means that they took what we taught them and they applying it to everything that everything else that they're learning.
Man, so that are geniuses.
Yeah, but I'm just saying how quickly they adapted it right to whatever they like. I mean, instantly adapted it.
Absolutely, because that question, and again, for y'all, if y'all haven't seen anything, if you're in the village, you can see some of the stuff. But we were doing a session where we had the honey hustler. She is, again, Nicole Aubrey. She's in the chat all the time on all our sessions, but she's a bee farmer. All right, and so she came to do a presentation to the babies, and she broke it all the way down, like Corey said. But again,
what's up, y'all?
Some of the questions.
Wait
a
No. Listen, I'm not staying on. I just came on to say what's up to y'all. Like, so I'm supposed. Listen, so the family's supposed to be going to a water park today, right? So I'm with the family today, but just like typical black families, they running late. So I just said, let me jump on for a couple of seconds and say what up.
On TP time.
yeah, Corey, you know how it is, bro. I'm like, we supposed to be there now. We supposed to be there when they open. How y'all going? You know what I'm saying? But you know how it is.
Yo, listen, man, and listen, that place is fun too. Cause I took my kids there like 10 times, man.
Yes, I'm going with the nephews and the family and all that. And I'm like, all right, man, but they running on CP time. So I said, let me jump on real quick, say what's up to everybody. I was hoping Nicole was in the chat. I just want to say thank you to Nicole again because she was absolutely brilliant and amazing, and we appreciate that.
All right, don't go away yet, Jim.
Okay.
I was just about to show this.
Everybody
and, Jimmy's there giving out that.
Oh, you got me out here looking like Nino, man.
all we need is some turkeys.
Yo, you guys send me that video so I can share it on social with the Nino clip, man.
No, I got something working on, man.
That means you really about to cook me then, huh?
I remember. No, I'm not gonna cook you. No, it's all love. Today you get no cooking, man. You and Corey did y'all damn thing. It's wonderful being with the babies. I was just telling Corey, I'm tired as all heck, but I'm energized. Like my granddaughter's third birthday party was yesterday, so I had to go do that.
Yeah.
Now I'm feeling the after effects, but it's all worth it.
I saw a tweet this morning. It said, if you ever got music off LimeWire, you can hear it crack when you stand up in your knees. And I was like,
I'm gonna tell you how much music I got off LimeWire. I think I still got some of it too.
I think I burnt through like a couple computers, like because I was going too hard with LimeWire, like you know what I'm saying, downloading all kinds of viruses. But I had that new pistol.
So Nicole is in the chat. Thank you, Nicole.
Hey, Nicole.
Hey, Nicole.
So I got some honey yesterday. I got my fix, my honey plug came through. And it was
Oh,
great.
the honey is fire too. I tried it yesterday. I was drawn to. I put a little bit of honey on top of a ribeye, and it was dumb fire. No,
Jim
listen,
just
I'm gonna
trying
tell you why.
anything.
I'm gonna tell you why. Nicole inspired me yesterday. She was like, people have this thing where it just goes in tea. She's like, you got to try it on different stuff.
Correct, because honey, I put honey in coffee. So
Listen, man, I had a honey glazed ribeye last night. Absolutely brilliant, Nicole. Thank you so much.
I told you, man, she gave the whole game away in like a half hour. Like, it changed everything. I swear for God, I ain't know nothing about beef farming. Absolutely
I didn't know
nothing.
that it originated in Egypt. That was like a history lesson for me. Like, I had no idea.
Absolutely.
That part I did know. But
I didn't know that.
So give us a minute, y'all. We about to get to the presentation in a minute, but we got to talk about yesterday. So this right here, Nicole was doing the class thing.
My name is Nicole Aubrey. I am the owner of Aubrey Sweet Acre Farms out in New Jersey. I'm in Berlin, New Jersey, so I'm in South Jersey. Born and raised in West Philadelphia, born and raised. If you ask anybody that knew me as a kid, the last thing they would think was I was raising bees. Right, Kamar?
Yes.
So, my husband came to me in 2019 and said,
Yeah, that was fire, yeah.
Why?
But I mean, she held nothing back. She broke down numbers.
She talked about numbers, reinvesting back into the business, the whole business of it, the history of beekeeping. So, and the kids loved it too. They had all kinds of questions. Like, yo, shout out to my young boy Jonas. He was like, I need 62 hives.
Immediately.
He was mad specific too.
Yeah, because when she was like, she could make like 10 bands off of a hive.
He's like, I need 62 of them.
I need 62.
He must have got something specific in mind he want, because he had a specific number.
My man needed $500,000 easy. Like, I need that. I need that.
All right. So if you all do not know about the camp, go to bthcamp.com. Go to bthcamp.com. Go to bthcamp.com. Shout out to Dr. Umar.
And share it with your family and friends too, man. Because our thing is like, we don't charge anything for it. We actually give away money, as you guys can see, and it's like we just want to try to inspire as many kids as possible, man. Like, that's what I'm looking forward to. Like, 20 years from now, seeing somebody become a congressman or a president, be like, yeah, I learned all this at the camp. Like, that's so for me. I just want to, impact as many families as possible. So just share it if you can. You know what I'm saying?
Now,
share it if you can.
Jim, since you're on here, right? Give us a minute, y'all, because I got a little bit of a rant.
Uh-oh.
Listen, y'all know Corey and Jim started the camp. They've been doing it for almost 10 years, right? I've volunteered with the camp before, but now I'm all in full-fledged. It amazes me that while we got a lot of people there, why don't we have more? Because it's free. I feel like we should have so much demand that we're forced to do something totally different. Because again, it's free, it's quality, and it's like we complain about all these things. We complain about the police. We complain about the white man. But when brothers and sisters, shout out to LaToya, right?
Man, LaToya, listen, I can't say enough about her, yo. Like,
right.
she's the backbone.
She does everything, yo. She's everything.
But when brothers and sisters get together and do some things, a lot of times it's not supported, it's not subscribed, it's not attended in the way it should be. So I'll say all that to say, if y'all know people that want to learn about money, kids want to learn about money, because we got adults in the building too, y'all. Come on out, bthcamp.com.
Yeah, we definitely got adults in the building, and it's funny because one of the parents who was there yesterday, and shout out to Dave, he made a crazy donation after sitting through the second week. He told me during lunch, he was like, and here's the crazy part, he's a real estate investor. He knows everything about real estate. He said, but I had no idea about personal finance, even though I work in real estate. And he was so inspired by the camp. He was like, it's something, he said it's the first thing that him and his son are learning like simultaneously. And he was like, he couldn't be thankful. I told you, to the point where he made a crazy donation before he left. Like, I just love what you guys are doing. So the parents are there learning as well.
And for the record, y'all, and this is no shade, right? But y'all know we rock for the community, right?
Yeah.
He's Asian.
Yeah. Hey, listen, but he
And
showed
he's cool.
love.
Like, he's mad cool. He showed
Yeah,
love.
no, he's cool, man, cool, and he showed love.
Like, we'll work with anybody who wants to work, but we here for the community first. But damn, y'all supposed to be here. You know,
Kamari about to go off on a rant, yo. Kamari, I need you.
That, though. Kamari already said
I know he did.
about to go
But I
off
can see
on a
the
rant.
listen, man. I see the passion in him. You're
I'm
like
chilling.
Mike Wallace, man. It's the passion speaking.
No, I'm chilling.
What I want you to do is this, Kamari. Once you finish the presentation this morning, I want you to pull the tripod out and shoot a WWE clip and say what you just said.
No, we did it. You know what? I will, because I got something I'm going to do for the YouTube anyway.
Yeah, I'm saying. So
you know,
anyway, man, I'm about to bounce anyway. I just want to come say what's up to the brothers, man, and also I want to thank Nicole, man, because I can't thank you enough. That was definitely dope. The honey is fire.
Jimmy,
have a good.
Make sure you wear your flip flops and your life jacket, man.
Hey, listen, man, I got the you know what I mean, the shirt on, you know what I mean, the water shirt and all that.
I don't want you to lose no more Bitcoin.
Listen, man, hey, Bitcoin, we about to crack 120 right now, dog. We above 119 right now, man. So I'm going to sit on there. You know, if I had any Bitcoin, I'd be making money while I was, out in the water. But I mean, so it is what it is, man. But y'all have a good class, man. Appreciate y'all, brothers. Love y'all, man. And everybody out there, share the link out with the Kent, man, because we still got 3 weeks left, so we still going, do a bunch more. And appreciate you guys, man. But I'm out of here.
Later. Now, last thing before we get going, the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to start doing these at least once a month, usually on a Saturday. All right, we're not sure of the date yet. We have a location. It'll either be late September, early October when we get started. We're going to take a little bit of break after we get done, and then we right back at it. So we're going to need all the help we can get to let everybody in the community know. So, all right, as we get going, let's get this party started. All right, I saw your comment, Jarrell. All right, Nikki said she loved Jonas. He said, you're right, there's more people in that camp. I'll be trying to put my family on, but you can't bring a horse to drink water. That's a fact. But I guess sometimes, and I know that intellectually, but sometimes understanding a thing emotionally is a total other thing. But we complain about a lot of shit, y'all. We put out our own bread in our own time. I know I put out bread, and that's not even to compete, because I know Jimmy and Corey have put out bread without a problem, with no look back, or with no one back, rather. So, all right, I'm off my soapbox. All right, so again, y'all, we talking about the size matter when it comes to stock. It absolutely does. All right, so Cap Talk, what size got to do with everything? Listen, when we're talking about stocks in the market, size has everything to do with everything. All right, so we just have a quick presentation for you all. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this out with everybody, because again, the algorithms are playing in our faces. They don't always share our stuff out because we specifically talk to the Black community, and a lot of times those folks don't like that. All right, so the Money Church mission, every Sunday we come here to talk to you all about money opportunities in the market, so you can understand them and make money with them. Y'all know we are on 3 times a week, so Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Wednesday is our other day where we mainly talk about personal finance. All right, Friday is the day where we talk about money and culture, right, where it all collides. But Sunday, this is Money Church. This is where we pay our tithes to you all, and we talk about money making opportunities in the market. All right, so as we get going, why is it important to understand the different sizes of stocks, right? So you have growth potential, you have to think about risk exposure, you have to think about income opportunities, and then you have to think about, in my opinion, the most important thing when it comes to investing, time horizon, or as on the slide it says, investment timeline. Because a lot of times people will need money in different time frames. A lot of people talk about needing money for college for their children. A lot of people talk about needing money for retirement. Well, all those things come at different time frames, and you need to invest based on that. And there is a presentation I did on this, and asset allocation and buckets of money. And I'm not sure if those are in the village. I got to look and double check with Jimmy, but because I also saw a question too asking about portfolio construction based on percentages. And I know I covered that. I know we covered that in terms of portfolio build out. So I'll make sure all those things are up in the village as well. All right. So what is market cap? Okay. Market cap basically is the size of a company. Now, there's a formula involved. Now, Corey says everything in life is about math. Everything in investing is about math as well. So market cap is the share price times the total number of what's called outstanding shares. Now, all these publicly traded companies are corporations. And anytime you have a corporation, you have to issue shares to the shareholders. And so without getting too technical, let's say you might give out or you might issue 100,000 shares, but you might only sell, let's say, 50,000 shares. And so those 50,000 shares are those shares that are outstanding. Those are the ones that are out there trading, whether it's privately or publicly. All right, so keep that in mind. So that's what makes up the market cap. Again, the price times the outstanding shares equals market cap. All right, so when we talk about market cap, right, most people talk about small cap, mid cap, large cap. Now they have mega cap, but small cap usually are companies that are $2 billion or less, that have a market capitalization of $2 billion or less. All right. They are usually emerging companies. A lot of times these companies have gotten venture capitalist money, angel investing. It's not necessarily money that they've made off of revenue or so, but it's money that they pledged themselves or got other investors to put into it. Usually a lot of times they have an idea on what they're trying to do or how they can make money. Think of Amazon. At one point, Amazon was a small cap company, right? Amazon lost money for a long time. So
I mean, almost all of the large cap companies and mega cap companies started off as small cap companies.
Right.
Almost all of them, not all of them, but almost all of them.
All of them. That's an accurate statement, I would say, Corey. I mean, that ain't nothing to debate about. But 9 times out of 10, they start with somebody giving them some money. Some might call it a hand or hand up, right? And they feel like they have a competitive advantage against everybody else in the market. Think about Netflix versus Blockbuster. You know, I might be showing my age, right? But Netflix was just an idea. It was a small cap company at one point in time. But then they said, you know what, we can do this a little bit better. But as we all notice, the Netflix of the world are very, very rare. Okay, so the pros and cons of small caps, right? You know, a lot of times they have massive growth potential. Again, like Corey said, most of these mega cap, big cap, large cap companies were small caps. But again, not all of them make it. There is a weeding out process because most businesses fail. And most businesses never make it to $10 billion status like a Netflix plus, right? So again, a lot of times with small cap companies, they are ground floor opportunities. They are undervalued gems. They are things that nobody are thinking about or nobody has figured out how to make money off of and monopolize. Again, there's a high risk of failure though, right? So again, I talked about risk factors. You got to factor that in to your overall investment strategy, all right? They're not as predictable and they can be very, very, very volatile, all right? Anytime you hear risk, usually volatility comes right after it. Not to mean that these big companies don't experience volatility because they do. They absolutely do, all right? So keep that in mind when we're talking about small caps.
Well, the volatility comes from percentages because they're small. Their price is small. The volatility comes from their price because a dollar move on a $200 stock is a 0.5% move, but a dollar move on a $20 stock is a 5% move. So it's different volatility.
Facts.
You see what I'm saying? So it's you gotta look at the difference in the price of the stock. So most of the time, the difference in volatility is not the percentage that it's moving, but the percentage related to the price of the stock.
That's a fact. That's a fact. All right. So mid cap stocks. All right. Small caps are like the baby. Mid caps are like the middle child, right? The middle big brother. They got a lot of the responsibility, but not all the authority. Many times mid cap stocks are typically anywhere from $2 billion in market capitalization to $10 billion. I want y'all to keep something in mind, though. These numbers are not set in stone. Sometimes they change daily, depending upon who's doing the evaluation, what industry they're in, what market cycle you're in. So things will change. So just keep that in mind, y'all. Keep that in mind. All right. So again, when you're thinking about market caps, though, okay, small caps usually are in the startup phase. Mid caps, right, typically have exited the startup phase, and now they are squarely in what's called growth phase. They figured out their business. They know what they need to do. They got solid growth in front of them. They just need to figure out how to continue to execute and do it day in and day out. They're still small, though. They're still small in comparison to some of the other bigger corporations that are out there, all right? But again, also when thinking about this, small caps and mid caps don't get as much coverage in terms of analyst coverage. And that's something that really drives markets, but that's something you got to be careful of, because I know me personally, I like to ignore analyst coverage, but analyst coverage does impact market sentiment and will change the trajectory of prices, especially in the short term. Now, in the long term, I feel analyst coverage really doesn't matter as much. Would you agree with that, Core, or disagree?
I disagree, because analyst coverage is about market sentiment, right? And the market is emotional. And so the market is super emotional. So when the analysts cover these stocks, it moves the price. Well, not all analysts. Like, there are certain analysts in the market that will move stock price immediately. Like if BlackRock or one of the bigger analyst companies say, we got a positive rating on a company, that company will start to move up, because that means if BlackRock and there are certain agencies that are moving the market because they're actually buying the stocks, because a lot of these stocks are being bought by most of these stocks are being bought by institutions. So if the institutions are saying we're going to buy them, then people are going to start to buy in.
Right. And you kind of just said everything I just said, though, Core. I said they will move the markets, but I just said in the short term.
Yeah, but it'll move it long term, because if they're buying it, then it'll continue to move. That's why they go from small cap to mid cap and mid cap to large cap, right? Because now they start to go into pension funds and things of that nature, which moves their price long term. So it's not just a short term move. That's the part that I was kind of disagreeing with. It could turn into a long term move.
It can, especially as companies get pulled into many of these indexes. For example, when companies get pulled into the S&P 500 or the Russell 5,000, 2,000, whatever,
yeah,
they always have buyers, right? So that's one of the things that is a floor for stock prices. So that is a good point, Corey. Something to think about. All right, but again, mid caps, like I said, they are breaking into the growth phase. They typically are making some money, but they still may be getting value VC money and angel investor money as well. So it still may be an opportunity for them. Most mid caps don't pay a dividend, but some do. All right, so keep that in mind as well. All right. Large caps. Now, large caps, like I said, large caps are now changing. They're morphing. We got $1 trillion companies now. Like I think NVIDIA just hit like 40 the other day. This is unheard of, right? But usually large caps are 10 billion plus companies. All right, so anything above that, you're thinking about your Amazons, you're thinking about your Pepsis, you're thinking about your Cokes. Those are all large cap type companies. All right, they are established. They've got all their processes down. They got staffing down. Usually, now there are some glitches, but usually they have all this down. They got plenty of credit. They got plenty of cash. A lot of times, not always though, right? All right, but they still face challenges oftentimes, right? Let something change in the overall interest rate environment. That's going to impact the large cap company. Why? Because many large cap companies borrow money to cover payroll. And so when they do that, their interest rates are going to go up if something changes in the interest rate environment. If interest rates go up, if now you see, old boy, the orange president, been wanting to lower interest rates to about 1%. Well, he knows that will help increase the overall base for large cap companies, people that, mainly largely fund the Republican Party. So that right there is a big move for that. And it's also a big move for real estate investors as well. So that's, just something to think about. All right. Now I'm looking at two different screens, y'all. Now, when we put these two things side by side and we look at them, and my graph is a little bit off. All right. Like I said, small cap, 2 billion or less in market cap. Mid cap is 2 billion to 10 billion. Large cap is 10 billion plus. All right. Small cap has the greatest amount of risk. Mid cap has the middle level of risk, or the median level of risk. Large cap has the lowest risk. As Corey just talked about, the stock price movement in terms of percentages will typically be greater in small caps and mid caps versus large caps. However, there are times, like if anybody has followed me, I talk about when I was buying Bank of America when it hit like $4 or $8, right? That was a extreme period of time, right? And I knew that it wasn't going to last there, so I was able to gobble up shares and make some money because I knew it was out of its standard deviation, which you hear Jim talk about a lot, right? And I knew Bank of America wasn't going to go out of business. I knew government was going to step in and fund them. Again, that was a large cap company. Each one of these things, small cap, mid cap, large cap, has their own characteristics, all right? And then when you see over there, small caps usually don't pay any dividends. Mid caps pay dividends sometimes, usually not though. Large caps pay dividends more so than anybody else, but all of them don't pay dividends either. All right. Now, small caps are usually good for long-term plays. Like set it and forget it if you believe it's good. All right. Mid cap is kind of in the middle of the lane. It's balanced. Your large cap companies are stable and typically, again, not always generate income in the form of dividends. So those are things you have to think about, right? Now, there's a note here on this slide that says, your investment strategy should include a thoughtful balance of these three market cap categories, tailored to your specific wealth building goals and your risk tolerance. Again, this is more so for your long-term investors, y'all. More so for your long-term investors. All right. Corey, you got anything you want to add on that?
No, that's about right to what goes on in the market.
Right. Okay. All right. So again, small cap future builders, mid cap scalable and starting to hustle. Large cap is legacy and security. All right. Just keep that in mind. And y'all know all of these will be stripped out and will be put in the village after we're done. And so if you do have any questions, go ahead and throw them in because we will get to them in a minute. Now, how do you apply this as an investor? This is the important part, okay? You must know your risk tolerance. Are you comfortable with markets going up and down? Are you comfortable with stocks going up and down? Does that bother you? So if that bothers you, you might not want to invest super heavily in small caps. You might want to invest more so in large caps, all right? You might also want to use ETFs or mutual funds. I don't even know why mutual funds are on there. I hate mutual funds. I only like ETFs. They're basically the same thing, but ETFs have better tax implications than mutual funds. All right. Then you also need to monitor your portfolio balance pretty regular. I think Corey, you said monthly before.
Yeah, I look at, I rebalance mine monthly just because I want my portfolio performance to do a certain thing. And so for me to have it do that, I have to rebalance it monthly.
Gotcha.
But most people probably quarterly, depending upon, what your portfolio does. I need to rebalance mine monthly.
Gotcha. So again, when you're rebalancing, you want to look and see what's moved, what stayed the same, what percentage gains you've had, what percentage losses you've had in your overall portfolio, and know where they came from. What generated it? Were they from the large cap? Were they from mid caps? Were they from small caps? Right? You might want a certain level of small cap exposure in your portfolio because over time, small caps will tend to outperform everything else. However, small caps also have larger swings than mid and large caps as well. So you got to put that all into the mix, and you got to think all that through. All right. This is bigger than the bag, y'all. You know, this thing that we do here ain't just about money. It's more than just, you know, buying gold chains and big rims and fancy cars and going on yachts, right? It's about legacy. It's about being intentional. It's about making things happen and shake for the next generation of your family. Yesterday, I was at a birthday party for my granddaughter. She's turned 3. I got 3 grandbabies. I'm thinking, what should I do for them? I got 3 granddaughters. Should I create 3 separate accounts, or do I want to do one big account? And then make them, or try to encourage them to work together on this, right? Because I know many times when families suffer losses and money comes into play, it's a very traumatic time, and people get very emotional and they do wild things. But sometimes when you can start talking about these things in advance, right? We're always talking about do what billionaires do. Not all billionaires do this, but the billionaires that do it, that have great family cohesion, tend to last longer. All right. So they are very intentional about talking about values, especially values as it relates to money and what they want to have happen and what they want to see have happen for the next generation and how they're going to control that. Okay. So you got to think about all those things. And those are the things that we constantly talk about all the time. So, you know, you want to keep that in mind when you're evaluating your portfolio. You're thinking about investing and thinking about what you want to do going forward. All right. So let's build together, y'all. All right. What cap size fits your current goals? Do you know what it is? Have you evaluated your portfolio? If you don't think you have a portfolio, 9 times out of the 10, you have a 401k or 457 or 403b, some kind of retirement account. That is something you need to monitor. That is something you need to have goals for. That is something you want to understand what you wanted to do and where you wanted to be when you finish doing this thing called retirement, right? Or when you enter in this thing called retirement. So, you know, you want to think about those things, right? Do you have enough small cap exposure? Should you have more small cap exposure? Do you have too much? I know back in the day when I was a financial advisor, I would see other advisors just tell people to buy all different kinds of mutual funds. The mutual funds are all buying the same shit. They were all buying the same stuff. And so it's not really doing what they say it's going to do because there's too much overlap and the balance isn't there, and they're not rebalancing on any kind of systematic level or any schedule or anything. They're just saying, set it and forget it. I don't care about it. Just let it go. And in actuality, they do care about it. They just don't know that they should do those things. All right. So, but you need to be super intentional about when you need to adjust your portfolio and why you need to adjust it. Right. So as always, y'all know we are here every Sunday, here every Wednesday, every Friday. Right. And so join the village, y'all. If you are not in the village, y'all should be hiding under a rock somewhere. You can join for free. There's a $1 tier as well. Everybody should be a member of the village because we're in there. Jimmy was just telling y'all the other day, he just ran a play that did 80% in the day. And I believe that play was done in the morning. Corey gets in there and gets busy. I don't trade as much as Corey and Jimmy, but from time to time, I will do some things and I will share my trades as well. So again, you want to be in the village. You want to know what's going on. You want to get involved, not just about the money, y'all, but we're doing more than just trying to make money. We are trying to build community and move the whole shape of Black culture, especially when it comes to money. So if you want to learn more, join blackwealthrebels.com. Again, blackwealthrebels.com, and become a member of the village today. Corey, you got anything before we get going? Anybody have any other questions? Throw them in the chat as well.
Yeah, so a couple things.
Okay, let's get it.
The first thing is joining the village is helping us to do the work that we do. Because the more people that know about our work, the more people we can help. This is not about us getting rich quick, right? We don't make a lot of money from the village. We hardly make any money from the village. Right? So this is about the work that we do. So the more people that join the village, the more work we can do. Right? Because as you can see, the money that y'all give us, we give it right to the babies. Like if you look at the videos that we have in there, we're literally using the money from the village to build a bigger village by using it to help these families and help these children. And so your contributions are redoubled many times because they go right back out into the communities and we pour into the babies. And the second thing about the village is that it helps us to build community and be able to talk to people so that when we have issues, we can help each other, right? We need to be able to lean upon each other, especially in these perilous times that we live in. And we need to have a community where we can do that freely. And so the village is a place where we should be coming together to congregate to be able to help each other. And if we're not using it that way, we're not using it properly. So join the village, make sure that, we are supporting each other. And that's really, what I got for this Sunday.
Okay.
Everybody, everybody.
Oops. Messed that up. Let's see. Try it again. Everybody eats. That's just again, I highlighted yesterday. It was really good to spend time with those the youth. Again, like I said, I'm energized, but I'm tired as heck though. But I know some of the young folks, they are now telling their parents, hey, we going to this party, but we got to go to camp first. I find that hilarious. They are taking part of their own destiny, and that's a beautiful thing. All right, so before we get going, does anybody have any questions about today's presentation, about the camp, about anything? Any questions are welcome. Go ahead and throw them in the chat. Let's get at it. By the way, Corey, while we're waiting, are you looking at anything
in the market?
Yeah.
No, so y'all know I have a strategy that I'm using. So what I've been doing is I've been buying MSTY.
Not MSTR.
No, not MSTR. I don't buy MicroStrategy because I'm looking at the dividend accumulation of MSTY.
Okay. I mean, MSTR has a great dividend strategy as well. I think it's like 130. What's MSTY's?
MSTY is it pays at like $1.30, between $1 and like $4 per share, depending upon on the price appreciation of MSTR.
Okay.
When Bitcoin is on a run, it pays out well. So next month's dividend is probably going to be something nice. It's going to probably be $2 to $3 per share. And so what I do is just I reinvest back in. People will say that with the reinvestment that your net asset value goes down, but you make so much from the dividends that I personally can't lose money at this point. Like I've only been doing it 6 months. I can't lose money right now unless MicroStrategy or Bitcoin goes to zero, or they just stop doing MSTY. Like 6 months in, I can't lose money, so I'm good. So
that's short-term, mid-term play. Is it a long-term play, or what do you think?
So it's a long-term play because what I'm doing is I'm reinvesting back in. So I'm using these things to reinvest back in, and then in about a year, which what I plan to do is take all of them and use it to because I'm also buying. They have one for the QQQ and for the oh my God, S&P 500. So I've also started to buy those. So what I'll do is I'm only doing like $50 a week into these joints. And so I'm buying, 10, 15 shares every week. and then I'm letting the dividends reinvest into themselves. So basically what I'm looking for is, because I'm a teacher, I don't get paid in the summertime. And so what I'm doing is setting up my next for next summer, when I'm not teaching, to have those actually pay me back out next summer.
Gotcha.
So for income. So I'm setting them up for income for next summer. So basically I'm paying myself to, for next summer. So that's really what I'm doing. And then I'll take, so basically 9 months of the year there'll be dividend reinvestments, and then for the 3 months of the summer, for June, July, August, I'll be taking out the dividends and using them for myself.
And so
that's
funny. It's funny, that ETF is one that's a little, it can be super duper tricky, but I brought some in my Roth. One, I brought it in my Roth because it's going to throw out income. I don't want to pay a whole bunch of taxes on that. But
yeah, indeed.
What Corey was talking about, I'm going to reinvest the dividends because it pays out monthly. Again, this is not investment advice, y'all.
Not at all.
We're just talking about what we do. All right. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only. All right. But I'm thinking very much the same way. Because it's relatively new. But it's going to be around for a while. I don't think MSTR is going away. I don't think Bitcoin is going away. Cover calls is one of those strategies that works in flat markets and up markets. It totally gets mollywopped in down markets. And I don't think it's going to be a down market per se anytime soon.
Yeah, like even if it's a down market, like I said, because I'm doing a dividend reinvestment strategy.
Yep.
It'll kick out when the market comes back up. So I don't think MicroStrategy is going to die off. Right. So if MicroStrategy isn't going to die off, even if I'm not getting the dividends I want, and the what's the name is coming down, the actual cost is coming down, what'll happen is it'll start to buy more. And so when the market kicks back up, I'm gonna get a crazy return on what I got going on. So I'm not really actually worried about whether the market is up or down. I'm not thinking about that at all, actually.
Gotcha.
But I have more. So I have the QQQ covered call joint. I think it's QQQY or QQQM, and I have the
No, I was just saying they got a bunch of them.
No, I'm just saying, but I started buying them. So I have that. I have iBit because that's, and then I have I actually have 2 or 3 REITs. So I have about 10 that I'm investing in, but all of them pay either weekly or monthly. Okay. And so I'm putting $40 or $50 into each one of them. So I'm spending about $500, but I'm spreading across all of them, and then let the reinvestment happen. So like I said, in a 9 months of the year, I won't be touching it. And then, like I said, I'm actually going to use those June, July, and August. I'm going to be, taking those out and using those for income over the next year.
Gotcha. So Ms. Bowie says, enjoy the rest of your Sundays, Kings. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you as well. All right, Cedric, come through. Cedric Webb, come through with the super sticker. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. All right. Jamil, what up, though?
What it is.
All right, Frida says, is MSTY one of them cover called ETFs? Yes,
it is.
All right, she also says she was looking at GP. Jeppy. I know I've heard of it, but I haven't looked at it. Do you know what that is?
Yeah. I used to have Jeppy. It's a cover called ETF. It's the same kind of thing as
Gotcha.
But it has more like the oil companies like ExxonMobil and all of that kind of stuff in there.
Gotcha. All righty. All right. Frida says, I wish I could buy a Jeppy in my 401k. Well, you can talk to your administrators. The thing about 401ks, a lot of times they will do mutual funds versus ETFs, just because from the administration standpoint, it's a little bit easier. but it's not as diverse for individuals who are actually in tune with the markets. So that's the thing. But what I'll say is keep investing, get the match if you get a match, but keep investing. All right, Jarrell says, when y'all reassess your portfolio, can you do it less frequently when you have long-term stocks, or should I be checking a lot more frequently? I'd say I agree quarterly. Listen, there are some people who don't do it at all. And the reason I say quarterly is because you want to be in touch with your money. When you get out of touch with your money, you lose control of your money.
We talked about that yesterday in our camp.
Yep. At least you know what's going on. So no, you don't have to feel the need or compunction to make moves and changes, but you want to make sure that you know what's going on. Because sometimes, things change, they change quick. Not saying you gotta react to every little thing. Because I say this, the market's like kids. Kids are always going to do something crazy, right? It doesn't always warrant your attention, though. Does not always warrant your attention. Sometimes when they fall, you say, all right, get up, brush yourself off. Sometimes you say nothing and just watch them and assess what they're doing. So again, I don't think you have to always make changes in your portfolio. What up, man? Says salute. I know Kamar did that thumbnail. Crazy work, pause. You act like I got something crazy on there. Yeah, let me show y'all the thumbnail. I don't want my character to be attacked. It's basically what I asked y'all. So is that bad? Is that crazy work? I need to say pause for that, Corey?
Absolutely not.
All right. So here's the thing. The Pope, if anybody wants to start a YouTube channel, the whole point of a thumbnail is like the cover of the book. What gets you interested in reading a book? It's usually a cover. But they also say don't judge a book by the cover. That is true too. But the cover is what gets people into the book. That gets their juices flowing, gets their imaginations going. So, got to get the imaginations going. All right. So Jigga says, Cora Kamari, are you familiar with the ABLE accounts for the disabled? It's a savings account that invests in certain funds for the disabled, and interest is tax-free up to $100,000. I saw that. Isn't that something new that's coming under this tax bill?
No, so that's not new. So that's something that I actually was investing in for my now 15-year-old when he was younger, and the government slapped me in my head because I was getting a subsidy because he was going to he was going to a school that was costing like $1,300. It was like $5,000 a month. And I was getting a subsidy to do that. And the government was like, because I was putting money up and he had more. The thing is, he wasn't you're not allowed to have more than $3,000 in assets for your kids. And I was like, that's ridiculous.
So it's not just kids, it's anybody. So anybody that's getting kind of SSI or SSI, the disability, because I used to be on an investment, let me say this right. I used to be a part of the investment team for a pooled trust. And this pooled trust company was created for individuals who had disabilities and that could not have money more than $3,000. It was $2,500 when I was on there, but I guess it's $3,000 now. $3,000 in assets in the bank. If, like Corey just said, you could potentially lose your benefits. So they did now have these alternatives. So I guess ABLE is something like that. I need to check it out. Because that's going to become more and more of a thing, because more and more of our community is having children that are on the spectrum, autism. I know I have a niece that's something I think about often. And when a lot of times you have those situations, you can't leave them assets without them losing benefits. So again, it's crazy. It's crazy. Definitely got to check that out. Let's see. All right, so Farida says, so I'm going to run daily cover calls on IWM. So you got the 100 shares over there? Do you think if we get a rate reduction, it will help small caps? Potentially, if the rate reduction comes, it can help small caps.
It absolutely will, and here's why. Because small caps generally have a lot of debt that they can't service, and then higher interest rates means that they have to pay more on that debt. When they have to use less of their money to service their debt, they will actually get a boost in stock price because their money looks better on paper. So yes,
sometimes.
In the short term, it should boost it. I'm not saying it will, it should.
You do need to know what the capital mix of the said investment is, because some small caps have a lot of debt. Some of them have a lot of equity investment. And so the equity investment doesn't hurt or help as much, but definitely when you're heavy on debt, and there's a lot of them that are heavy in debt, you got to understand that. Even for large cap companies that are heavy in debt, and doing that, it's less debt service, meaning less money paying their debt bills, their credit card bills, their line of credit bills, and then they can put more of that to profit and research and development and paying their employees a lot of times. Or will tariffs overshadow? Tariffs are always going to be a potential threat, sadly, because the markets run off fear and greed. And if, like I know they said over the weekend, old boy is talking about putting a 30% tariff back on our northern neighbors in Canada. But, he says a lot of things and then he doesn't do them. And I think people are noticing that. Like, when is TikTok going to get banned? He was the one who introduced the ban of TikTok. And now it just keeps getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. Like it's not even real anymore. All right, Jarrell says, okay, respect and great analogy. LOL. I am one of those people that hasn't checked. Thank you, guys. Yeah, man, check it out. Check it out. You know what? A lot of times what I find when people who don't check, they got a large amount of cash sitting on the side, and they can deploy that cash and let it get busy. Because while y'all know I love cash, let me rephrase that. I love what cash can do. I don't love cash. I don't love money. But as a tool, you want to deploy cash, especially in retirement accounts. You don't necessarily want to have a whole bunch of cash sitting on the side, unless you're storing up to make a big move. Again, you got to put everything in context. Okay, the MAGA accounts I knew. Okay, I knew it was something because I got to look at those too. This new bill, the quote unquote beautiful big tax bill, I call it the big beautiful tax bill for the rich and famous. There's going to be a lot of changes coming this coming tax season, so it's something I got to get ready for now. I'm not happy about that. I swear the government hates accountants. I swear they do. All right. Ms. Power says, think about it from the government's perspective. If you have money / assets, you don't need the government's assistance. Yes and no. I get why you say that. Because some people think that if you have that, but I think that's a low level of money though. $3,000 in some places is less than a month's rent. And so let's say
I live in a city where the average rent is $1,800.
Right.
Like, and you talking about $3,000 in assets. Like, basically, you telling me I can't have a month of savings put to the side for an emergency. If I have more than a month of emergency money put to the side, I can't get financial assistance for something that costs $5,000 a month. That's ridiculous.
But part of the problem is people that do these bills, write these laws, don't have any economic, financial, or personal finance wherewithal. And we vote these people in, and we don't check them, and we don't keep a tab on them. So most of them are stupid, just to be frank. But that's a whole other thing, a whole other conversation for another time. All right, yes, it was because I solely relied on the drip method because I didn't know enough but to just invest. Right. Now, Jarrell, how do you think I knew you was going to have a whole lot of cash? I just see it all the time. I see it all the time. So again, that's why you want to necessarily keep a check on it to make sure everything is running smoothly. So, but shouts out to you for at least taking the steps forward because some people ain't even got nothing to check on. So, the bigger idea is that you got something to check on. So keep doing what you're doing. Just make the quick modification to look at it a little bit more often. That's all. Yeah, but it implies that you have disposable income. That's listen, I get it. But again, I think the threshold is super, super low. Too low. Now I can see if you said, all right, I got more than $5 grand, 10 grand. All right, I got a year's worth of income set aside. Because I don't spend money because, what I find is like my mother lives with me. She's a senior. She don't pay for nothing. I don't think she would run the risk because it's Social Security that she worked for. But it would be wild that you said, all right, I'm going to live with a family member. They take care of everything. They're taking care of me. They just want that money just in case something happens, right? That they can't stomach, whether it's medical bills or whatever. But you're just stymied by this $3,000 threshold. So, all right. Trump must be mad at Drake. Something with all these threats on tariffs on Canada. I don't think it's Drake. I don't think Drake is on his radar at all. All right, this is why Don Johnson says, this is why welfare reform is needed. There is so many aspects of it that keeps people needing the system. I disagree with that. So, listen, I get it. I know people think that a lot of people are really getting off on the system for welfare, personal welfare. And yeah, sure, there are some abuses. But I know personally, I was on welfare as an adult when I was in college. And I was working, and I was a single parent. And I had to do all these things. But I was actually in school at the time, too. And they didn't really factor that in. So, yeah, you could say there's welfare reform that should leave it on the personal. But, again, I don't think anybody, with a half a brain is looking at any of these things. Right? Because a lot of these things can be found out. I'm in school full time. I'm working as well. I need medical benefits. I need some food stamps. I had to do all this stuff because they wanted me to do certain things. Then they wanted me to do certain volunteer hours. It's like, well, when do I get to make sure the quality of my household is intact, even though I'm doing all these things? I don't know. But what I find interesting, though, is we talk about personal welfare or what they call entitlement programs. But nobody ever checks for corporate welfare. And the bullshit that they pay corporations that are making a sizable profit and talk about that's entitlement. Nobody ever talks about that. I find that interesting. All right, Jigga says it was for individuals disabled before 26, but the age limit has been raised to before 46 comes January 26, meaning I'll qualify for it now. Okay, Jigga, I didn't know you were disabled. Salutes to you, by the way. I'm trying to find out if they will have an S&P 500 equivalent. Probably they will. But I'll definitely dig into the able accounts and the mega accounts. Okay, Ms. Maui says, make sure when you discuss welfare to include the corporate and farming. Well, I just said that. I didn't even get to I didn't get it. Yep. Listen, the farming welfare, man, some of them folks, who are the people that own the seeds? Was it not AMD? Arch Daniels Midland. They have such a monopoly on the seed market. It's ridiculous, y'all. And they still get a goddamn subsidy from the government. But nobody ever talks about that. Nobody ever talks about defense companies, right? On how a lot of their money comes from government contracts. Most government contracts go over budget and do not deliver on time. That to me is another form of welfare because they're getting free money, free taxpayer dollars. And nobody's really running a check on that. All right, so anybody else got anything before we get out of here? I gotta finish my coffee, y'all. I got my great supplement bottle. By the way, the white supplement bottles are better than the black supplement bottles. If you like supplement, if you haven't tried it yet, you gotta try it. Go on over to getsupplement.com. I use mine almost every day, whether it's hot or cold beverages. I thoroughly enjoy them because they keep the cold cold and they keep the hot hot. All right. All right. So again, thank you for that super chat, Cedric. Appreciate you all. And we'll be back on Wednesday. Check in with us in the village if you got any questions, thoughts, comments, or concerns. And we'll be back next Saturday. Again, if y'all know anybody that wants their children to learn about personal finance, send them to bthcamp.com, bthcamp.com, bthcamp.com. And we out, y'all. Y'all have a wonderful Sunday.